How's practice been lately?
It's going well. You know what I mean? We asking a lot of these guys, and that's just, a part of it. We'll be very demanding and not going to let off and not going to take the stance or it's early and, we just started off. We put in work with a goal in mind, and so the standard won't change. But it's good. I'm excited. These guys are flying around, and they really are trying their hardest right now. So
I think the new position of rush is a little different than kind of some of the returning players are used to. What are some of the things that you've implemented, coming into these spring practices with regards to just the rush position?
Yeah, that rush position, that edge position has to be an impact position. It's not one of those spots where you're not making an impact from a production standpoint, which is mainly sacks, TFLs. You know what I mean? And so we demand, or I ask a lot out of them, to be a great pass rusher first, a guy that can get to the quarterback and win one-on-ones first. And then, their skill set also has to embody enough athleticism to cover backs and drop in coverage at times and things of that nature. So it's a very layered position, but it's a specific skill set, and I think we got all the right guys in the right spots, which is good to see what they can do out there. So, but it has to be a position when we come out of football games that people feel like, okay, I felt the impact of that spot.
Can you talk about the transition of Solo moving out to your position, the rush end from linebacker? He's had a lot of injuries since he's been here. Can you talk about that transition and how he's looking?
Yeah, right now we're just in a position where, in spring we're able to do some of that position swapping, trying to see which guys' skill sets are best and best suited for what positions. Obviously, in that position, if a guy has some pass rush ability or plays kind of reckless and things, it's probably a pretty good fit. And Solo's done a good job. He's a dense person. Like, if you just bump up to him, man, you're like, geez, and so he's a physical player. Again, he's had a lot of injuries, I know, in his career, and so trying to find him a home, because the kid is really all into it and loves to be on this field. You feel the passion. He's a very intense person, so I'm pulling for him, you know what I mean, that he can find a home wherever it is on that field and hopefully have some success,
And then you talk about Romello Height coming over. How has he been able to transition from the SEC to the Pac-12?
Yeah, it's been good. He's kind of everything I hoped and we hoped that he would be. Obviously, I think when he's on the field, it makes a difference. Again, this is early. It's 5 games in and all that, but he's making an impact every single time he's out there. And I think he's just still learning the position because it is a little different than what he did at his last place. But I've been very pleased with him, just his approach, in terms of film study and just really, really into it. So, it's always good when a guy is mature enough to understand, like, hey, this is a really important deal. This is a really important deal, how I approach my career, and I think he's one of those guys. So.
Can you talk about Korey Foreman? He's been kind of banged up a little bit here.
Yeah.
What are your expectations for him?
Yeah, they're really high. I challenge him in a lot of ways, being a highly touted guy a year ago, and I've always kind of just reminded him that, that's a year ago, or the best version of you in high school isn't good enough to play in college. Just remind yourself that, and so he's a guy that needs to have an impact this year. He's a guy that needs to be on that field. He's got to work through, knickknacks and injuries and things, and still have to mature as a young player. From a skill set standpoint, wow, he's got some tools now. I mean, he looks the part, but not just looks the part. He can bend and he's extremely strong, and just if you were drafting him, that's what you want, but you got to go do it. Is what the reminder to all these guys is. We're all, even us as coaches, we're unproven here, so we all have that chip on our shoulder that we got to do more than talk this year. We got to go be about it. So.
Are you comfortable out here? You've been out here now for a few months. Have you found your comfort level out here?
I love California. I had the opportunity to coach here for a year back in 18 across the street, and my kids were born here in LA. I'm from the Midwest originally, so Midwest people tend to love California for obvious reasons. So this is where I want to be. Couldn't be in a better place. And the history, the tradition of this place is unmatched. And what a cool opportunity we get to kind of take over the reins and you know, put our name or put our stamp on it. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I think every coach, you know, shares the same sentiment that you don't get better than USC. So.
Do one more?
As far as the Nichols, what have you seen now? 5 practices in the spring.
Yeah, there's some really athletic dudes. You know, again, I talked a little earlier about the position, and you know, they're more, you know, meeting with the safeties right now in corners, so I haven't had really my hands on, which is fine. So from the sideline and from my standpoint, while, you know, Max and Jalen, those are some athletic dudes, man, that are really headsy players and sharp, football savvy dudes. So, I mean, it's pretty cool to see those guys' maturation even early on. So I'm excited about these dudes, man, and just where we can go.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.